Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Jerry Marcus Porter.
And we are here joined again by our guests from the Star Wars Minute podcast. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm Pete the Retailer.
And this is Alex Robinson.
Thank you guys for coming back. I know the commute from both sides of the country is a drag, day in and day out, but I appreciate the effort.
Well, we took the Sallah. So.
Excellent.
You guys validate, right?
Oh, totally. Don't you worry about that. All right, we're discussing Minute 19 today, and Minute 19 begins with Marcus explaining that the city of Tanis was consumed by the desert, and it ends with Indy trying to explain a stick. Nobody really knows for sure how high.
No. But this I mentioned, I think, earlier in the week. I asked if you guys have been talking about the chalkboard, but I'll say this is a tenuous connection at best. But the when he's saying that, he's talking about the staff of Ra, and he's saying nobody knows how high, and then he goes to kind of toward the blackboard in this minute, and the math that's on the blackboard. It's a physics equation apparently, and that h equals v2 over 2g is I don't know physics. I don't know the terminology at all, but apparently it's related to the maximum height that something can. So if you throw something, the maximum height that it will achieve is you can use that equation. So h is height there. So height equals the velocity. I don't know the rest of there's symbols that I can't express in my words, but
right.
Basically the h there that in that first bit of the equation is used to determine the height. So as he's talking about nobody knows how high, and then he goes to the blackboard for this equation.
which proves that no one knows how high anything is. That's what the equation expresses.
Exactly.
I love in this minute where Marcus has clearly picked up that at least Eaton is not buying any of this hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. Mm-hmm. And I just love the way he kind of relishes, like he's telling him a ghost story, wiped clean by the wrath of God. He's just relishing that.
So do you think he's trying to lead him along or whatever? Because I feel like I would believe the ghost story.
No. I think he's totally just kind of messing with him. I think he's just kind of like, I'm not going to convince this guy of anything interesting in the world, so I'm just going to, mess with him a little bit.
Do you think at this point Indy is catching on that they want him to go find Abner? Does he think, oh, this is going to be a job for me, or is he just like, I got to finish talking to these suits and then go grade papers?
I think the minute after they leave, he starts to be like, oh my gosh, maybe they'll want, because I think right now he's so, and Marcus, the look that Indy, or that he gives Indy as he goes to the chalkboard and stuff, he's kind of like, oh, there he goes. He's totally into his stuff. He's in his zone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think right now he's just so excited to be talking about this stuff and explaining it, and he's still in the afterglow of Tanis being discovered. That maybe that'll come next.
Well, he's thrilled he's not in trouble.
Yeah.
It's originally he's walking down the hall. He's like, I don't want to talk to them. What am I in trouble? And then they bring up Abner Ravenwood.
Right.
Who also, by the way, seems to be a grave robber.
Abner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody is. They're all raiders.
Well, now technically we have not yet seen Indy raid a grave, correct?
We only know that he robbed a cradle.
That's true. Technically, I guess he raided a temple.
Yeah, he raided a temple. I guess that's better.
No, that's true.
Unless you count him as Forrestal's grave.
Yeah, that's Forrestal's grave.
And Satipo's. Don't forget Satipo.
Eh.
It was brand new,
It was
but still.
collateral.
Yeah, technically those guys would be in charge of littering a temple, like by leaving dead bodies
Right.
there. So
Yeah. They make it a grave
Yeah.
by being there.
Later, he will be a full-fledged grave robber
yeah,
several times over. But so
Oh,
far,
That's part of his character arc.
he'll be a grave robber and a murderer by the end of the movie, multiple times
Sure.
over. So
Raiders of the Lost character arc. As he becomes a bloodthirsty murderer.
Another minute with bad archaeology. Tanis is actually a real city, and it did disappear, but it most likely disappeared underwater as it was part of the Nile Delta.
Oh, really?
And it was actually well known by 1936. It had been pretty extensively excavated by that point.
he's behind on his reading his archaeology monthly. He doesn't know.
He
yet
is,
that they-
yeah.
Yeah.
he's been in the jungle for a while. Yeah, so.
Yeah. Let him catch up.
So here's something I thought of. Why would a guy who was obsessed with finding the lost city of Tanis open up a bar in Nepal?
I have that in my notes as well. Yeah.
And I guess according to it's not the Wikipedia. What is it? The Wikipedia? That's what they should have called it.
Oh my gosh.
He took what's her name, Marion, there because he heard that Alexander the Great had taken the Ark of the Covenant over the Himalayan mountains
Oh my
while
gosh.
going to China or something. So, really, how good of an archaeologist can he be if he wound up in an entirely wrong continent than the thing he was trying to track down?
At least he was a good father.
Yeah, at least.
Dragging his daughter.
And I think the
making her a
pressure of
bartender.
just rising the ladder at the university was getting to him. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna open a bar in Nepal.
Yeah, this isn't
And
worth
I'm taking these archaeological relics with me.
it. Yeah.
See, it was just sort of like a midlife crisis thing.
Yeah, maybe that's why I gave that answer.
There's a safety net there. He's like, you know what? If this whole Ark of the Covenant thing doesn't work out, well, let me open a bar just in case.
Yeah. Well, first it was, well, if academia doesn't work out, I'll go find the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
And then after a few years, Tanis, I don't know. I can't find it anywhere. I'll go open a bar in Nepal.
I feel like when he opened a bar in Nepal, he thought it was like Bali or something. And they're like, wait a minute, you mean Nepal is in the middle of the mountains? Most people.
Now you tell me. That's a sitcom I want to see. Abner's Place.
Him and his sassy teenage daughter and this nerdy bookworm that he's educating there. Who would be the made-for-TV version of Harrison Ford? Like,
Well,
if
we
they were
already
doing
know,
it,
don't we?
Who?
Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
He was almost the movie version of Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't. I don't know. But you think if they were doing an Indiana Jones TV show, they still would have cast Harrison Ford? I mean, not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
So
I don't like if they had made this movie and then they wanted to spin it off into a TV series.
Yeah, let's just say like a lot of movies. They said,
Yeah.
"Well, this would be a great TV show," and it really could be a great TV show. But
Sure. Well,
But,
I will offer since this all happens in Han Solo's mind, the radio drama Han Solo is Perry
Oh.
King from Riptide. So
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
I like that one.
Or what's his name? Stephen Collins, who was Tales from the Gold Monkey or Tales of the Gold Monkey. Was that the name of that show?
Yeah, I guess they did try to make it into a show.
yeah,
Did you guys ever watch any of those?
I remember like rushing to get home to like watch at least one of them, like maybe the first one, because like, oh my gosh, it's like Indiana Jones on TV, and I was like, it's not really Indiana Jones on TV that much. I think I made it through one episode.
Huh, I wonder if it holds up.
I would like to go back and at least address the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles because I remember it being a big deal.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and it not quite. I remember thinking like this is probably good, but this seems like the type of thing that my mom would be watching.
Right.
Where did the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles air? Was
It
it
was
on
like-
network TV or was it like on PBS or something?
I think it was on like ABC or something.
Yeah, I thought it was ABC.
Yeah, I think it
Really?
was. Yeah. And I think I only ever saw the one that Harrison Ford was actually on. There was like a framing story with him and his like Native American sidekick and it flashed back to it flashed back to like him playing the clarinet or something. It's like a jazz episode.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
I saw that one. Yeah, that was the only one I ever watched.
Yeah, me too.
It had to be the first episode, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I don't
Yeah,
think
it
it
was
was.
in-
I think it was like 2 years in or something.
Really?
And they did it. I think it was like a kind of a stunt to like boost ratings and morale or something.
Well, now you guys are going to know what it's like. Once you finish this movie, you guys should do the Young Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah. What about the Marvel comics? What about the role-playing game? And we're
Totally should do what is it? The Temple of Doom arcade game.
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I remember that.
But not the Raiders of the Lost Ark Atari game, because that would
Oh,
distract
it's
us.
perfect to talk about.
One very special magical thing happens in this minute, and I don't know if anybody else noticed it. Eaton pulls up. He scoots his chair a little bit closer to the table, and he pulls up, just like Red 6. Or just like they wanted Red 6 to, but it
They
never
wanted
happened.
it to. Yeah. Well, that's again. Let's put that in the evidence folder because
Yeah.
when Han Solo wants to set things right. Okay, this time Red 6 pulls up.
Yeah, he could have been within like radio, receiving the
Radio Land
transmissions. Yeah, it could have been a Radio Land Murders. Nobody could hear all the X-wing chatter. And they say, "Oh,
Right.
come on, Porkins, pull up. You can do it." Oh, why didn't he pull up?
Jesus, that stuff makes me so sad.
Yeah,
Like he could have saved Porkins.
you don't even care about Biggs. You just care about Porkins. You're heartless. Biggs was almost a character.
I think Porkins died first, correct?
He was the first, yeah.
He was the first, yeah, wasn't
okay.
He was the very
We're asking you guys.
It's that movie it's 3 movies ago at this point, and so like, what? I don't remember. Who's in that
Imagine
one?
you guys close your eyes and you just see a blur of lightsabers and blaster bolts. It's all just a blur.
Luckily, it's in 1 minute chunks though.
I do have in this minute that Porkins reminds me of my mom. Is that
Oh boy.
She was a lovely woman.
Indy's very excited about talking about the headpiece of the Staff of Ra. It's like when you're a kid and you tell your mom about something and it just sounds amazing, and then your mom says, "What exactly is that?" That's just the vibe I got when Porkins. What exactly is a headpiece of a Staff of Ra?
Yeah, it's the headpiece to a Staff of Ra, Mom.
I do feel like this minute is where it kind of lapses less into like dialogue between characters and just like, okay, this is from now on. My name is Major Exposition, and I'm here to
Right.
like what? So tell me, Dr. Jones, what is the Staff of Ra? Like a commercial kind of a thing.
Yeah, right. Why are drugs bad for me?
All that in
Well,
one arc.
And then start the bouncing piano. What exactly is the stuff of Ra? Well, bum, 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 bum.
I shall now draw a storyboard on this chalkboard for later in the film.
Not to just only talk about Porkins here, but he also gives kind of
Why not?
at one point it looks like almost just like he's going to crack, like he's I'll chalk this up to Hootkins having a good relationship potentially with Harrison Ford, because like looks up and neither of them are speaking at the moment, and it looks almost like he catches his eye and he's gonna crack up, and maybe he does, but they right before that.
Oh, interesting. I gotta look
But
for
then he
that.
literally
I didn't notice that.
turns away from him. Like Porkins actually turns and faces Musgrove while Indy's talking. It's
Because
like
he
it's
knows
so-
he can't look at him without
Yeah, he
laughing,
can't.
so he's like,
Well, so let me ask you guys this, because this is something we discussed amongst ourselves early on, I think in the first week. And this is a topic that is as old as probably Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
what are you talking about? Which one do I want to have relations with?
Yeah, like who do you think is hotter? No, I mean who I don't know, who's the better character? Let's just put it that way.
Better
Whatever that means.
character.
Or maybe more inspiring.
Oh, inspiring.
Yeah.
I think Indiana Jones is. I think Indiana Jones is probably more inspiring. I think Indiana Jones, Han Solo is a better character.
You had to cycle
Oh, interesting.
cycle through several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen Collins, Tom Selleck.
Well, mostly I think Harrison. Again, I'm just going to call him Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones doesn't really change from movie to movie because he's pretty much the same type of, guy from. You can watch the movies in any order and it doesn't really matter. Whereas Harrison Ford in Star Wars, at least there's somewhat of an arc there. He's kind of, on the fence about whether to join up with these people, and then by the end, he's a general, like all respectable. So,
Which is
That's an
why
excellent
I would
point.
say he's more inspiring because you could be, a schlub mixed in with the wrong crowd, and a couple of things, break your way, and next thing you know, you're hanging out with a princess and leading an attack squad.
my counter argument.
Just keep being a schlub and anything can
Yeah.
happen.
My counter argument
The
for
galaxy
that
will be
would
yours.
be that we see the Han Solo is a badass from the first second we meet him. He guns down Greedo in cold blood. And so, whereas Indiana Jones is like a nerd. Most of his time he just spends lecturing people, and he has brains and he values education.
Although the first time we see him, he does whip a gun out of a guy's hand.
He whips down a guy in cold blood.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess we do see Han Solo being like not good at his job. And we
Yeah,
learn
he
that
never
he's not,
slips
we learn
into-
that he's not good at his job because he dumps his spice at the first sign of Imperial trouble and so on. So maybe you're
Can't
right.
keep his ship running.
Maybe he is more inspiring.
Well, I think the irony is that exactly what you said. Here's this regular schlub who, he doesn't really care, but by the end, you're like, oh hey, and he's almost like royalty. But when you watch Harrison Ford and the character actually within the films, at first you're like, gosh, who is this guy? This Han Solo something? He's magnetic. I need to know more about him. And then by the time you get to Return of the Jedi, you're like, my God, this guy's sleepwalking through this, all his fame and fortune. He didn't give a shit.
Oh, thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
So you're
There you
saying
go.
Harrison
There's the first
Ford
one.
Harrison Ford is really the inspiring one because he got paid millions of dollars to sleepwalk through Return of the Jedi.
There you go.
And there it is. Yeah. Sort of its own sort of raider, raiding from all our pockets.
Yeah. Just try twice, and then you can coast for the rest of your life.
He must have so much money. Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Think of all the idols.
Yeah.
All the idols he actually got to keep.
He can pay his own way to
Right.
Marrakesh now, or Rishikesh.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah.
which one it was.
Marrakesh.
Yeah, Marrakesh, yeah.
Thinking of
Dreams
the
of
Beatles.
Porkins for Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I mean, he has those crazy stories of stuff where it's like, yeah, I was at my house with, me and Jimmy Buffett were hanging out, and all of a sudden the president came over or something like that. Like
Right.
during the Clinton
Yeah, I was working
administration.
on Quincy Jones's studio,
Yeah.
and then I got a job in a space movie.
I was
Yeah.
flying over Indonesia in my helicopter, rescuing the rainforest.
Right.
And the earring and Ally McBeal and the whole package.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because Jerry and I have been having this debate since, 1981, basically. And he always came down on the side of Indiana Jones, and I always came back on Han Solo. When you have these like debates, I always try to think of like the character in their prime, like the best version of them. So I kind of leave Return of the Jedi out of it, and I think, I don't know, Han Solo's got a spaceship. He's a rogue. He's, I think of Tracy Morgan on 30 Rock. He acts like he doesn't care, but he does. I don't know. We don't have to choose, do we?
No, and they're
No.
the same guy because, as we established,
Yeah,
Han Solo
agreed.
is Indiana
It's
Jones.
all one.
Yeah, so you got to pick Han Solo because he's the real
And
one.
frankly, we're all him anyway. So
Well, yeah, and
That's
we're all
true.
doing a podcast with the guys from the Star Wars Minute. So
Yeah.
we got.
Reality is bent on its ear. I choose me. I'm the best of the two.
The question was sort of, as a kid, who affected you more profoundly?
Oh, Han Solo then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was also older by the time I saw Raiders, so I was kind of locked into already being who I was by that point.
Yeah, we had 2 Han Solos to his 1 Indiana Jones by then.
Yeah.
Although I wanted to grow up and
Yeah.
be an archaeologist, I never wanted to grow up and be a smuggler.
Yeah.
Well,
If you could, though, if like Millennium Falcons were readily available, maybe you would have chosen Han Solo.
If they had them in the vending machine at the airport.
Dad, give me 5 more quarters. I know I can get it out of the grab machine thing this time.
well, see, I'm
Well,
with
plus-
you, Pete. I was more along the lines of that.
Well, plus Chewbacca is better than Sallah.
Yeah, that was part of my argument. His best friend is like a big space
Yeah.
creature Wookiee man.
Yeah.
It's not a, there's a contest there. It's not a, don't sell Sallah short. That's hard to say.
Aw, you love Sallah.
I do. I like Sallah a lot.
Sallah is
If
great.
Spielberg
I'll,
had gotten his
I'll
first
admit
choice
defeat.
and Sallah had been played by Danny DeVito, would that change your argument?
Probably. Although when you said that, I pictured Chewbacca played by Danny DeVito, and that did definitely change my argument.
Okay, what would happen if they did what some fans are doing with The Phantom Menace and replacing all of Jar Jar's lines with just alien language and subtitles? What if they did that with Sallah?
He's
Just gave him just Wookiee dialogue. Then would that even the scales a little bit?
Yes.
Only if then Chewbacca sang "The Monarch of the Sea."
Yeah, give Chewbacca some Gilbert and Sullivan to sing. That sounds like an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Well,
Great part of our
Salah's
musical.
he doesn't do nearly as much as Chewbacca does. I mean, I feel like I lost the arm wrestle right there. Yeah, I'm kind of swayed over. It's like, yeah, I mean, if it's your life and you're gonna hang out with Sallah or Chewbacca, it's that's a
I don't know if
no-brainer.
I want to just hang out with Chewbacca. That might get boring and weird.
I would
No, you
definitely
got-
watch a Sallah Christmas special, though.
Yeah, we could just get Sallah back to his family.
We're getting kind of off the track here, but that's part of the reason why I think that in some ways Last Crusade is a weaker film than Temple of Doom, because it definitely has a feeling like Return of the Jedi of, okay, let's take what worked in the first movie and carbon copy it. Like, I like the fact that
Yeah.
Sallah is kind of like, you get the impression that Indiana Jones like has people he knows all over the place. You got, the pilot guy in South America. You have Sallah when he's in Egypt, and Abner when he's in Nepal. So the fact that they kind of like said, okay, let's have Marcus and Sallah like schlep to, a different place, and instead of having like a local guy there, I don't know. It just
Yeah,
seemed
we're getting the team back together.
yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but of course that's not
That's an
Salah's
excellent
part,
point.
but that's not Salah's fault. But
Right.
That's an excellent point, though. Here's a guy, he knows everybody around the world, and then he brings and they're bumbling.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait, why does
Yeah.
they're getting way ahead? But
Yeah.
what's the explanation for that? Why is Sallah in? Were they in Jordan at that point?
He's got a family to take care of.
And I think, doesn't he like pick up Marcus at the train station or something? It's like very, like, I don't know, like they're on a vacation or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a movie I would watch. Marcus
Sure.
and Sallah on vacation.
With Abner Ravenwood.
Would that be like National Lampoon's, like a Sallah and Marcus having crazy adventures?
Eventually, they drive the Sallah and Marcus brand into the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One too many. All right. Well, does that do it for minute 19?
That's all I got.
That's all I have.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, Pete, not the retailer. How can people get in touch with us if they need to?
Check us out on Facebook. Check us out at IndianaJonesMinute.com. And most definitely check out our friends Pete and Alex at the StarWarsMinute.com. And if you haven't already, which would be a crime if you haven't, check out their podcast, The Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Yes. Oh, Star Wars.
Star
Minute.
Wars Minute.
I always wanted to do that. Yes. So go listen to some Star Wars Minute. Come back here tomorrow for minute 20 of Raiders of the Lost Ark on the Indiana Jones
Indiana
Minute.
Jones Minute.
Minute.